Good morning. I am Prachi Pundhir. I am Assistant Professor in Computer Science Engineering Department of Ajay Kumar Garg Engineering College. In today's class, I will discuss data analytics. Now, what actually data analytics is? Data analytics is taking raw data and analyzing it into some meaningful information that can be useful to any organizational purpose, business purpose, etc. In today's class, the outlines which I will cover is, now I will cover data. What actually data is? Data. What actually data is? What are the sources from where we can collect data? What kind of data we have? Now, sources and nature of data. Classification of data. Data is categorized into three types: structured, semi-structured and unstructured. What are the characteristics of data? Introduction of big data platforms, need of data analytics, analytic process and tools, analysis versus reporting, and modern data analytics tools, and application of data analytics. I will discuss, this is the outline. Next, data analytics life cycle. What is the life cycle of data analytics? Means its need, key roles for successful analytic projects, various phases of data analytics life cycle: discovery, data preparation, modeling, model building, communicating results, and operationalization. I will discuss all this in today's session. Now, what is data? Data is defined as any form of information that has been gathered and organized in a meaningful format, wherein they can be processed further. In other words, data are, what is data? Data are known facts that can be recorded and have implicit meaning. Data are known facts that can be recorded and have implicit meaning. Data definition and characteristics is one of the most basic concepts that should be crystal clear in your head. Data definition and characteristics. Data could be in any form. It could be in form of audio files, text documents, software programs, images, etc. It is sorted on a computer hard disk in binary digital format, meaning it can be stored and processed digitally, as well as it could be transferred from one system to another. This is one of the most useful aspects of digitally stored data, is that they do not deteriorate gradually with time, although they need to be curated from time to time. We need to cure our data, we need to apply different techniques to it in order to make data suitable for any organization. Now, what is big data? Introduction, types, characteristics and example. I will discuss all this. In order to understand big data, first you need to know what is data. As I already explained in the last slide what data is. The data is the quantities, characters or symbols on which operations are performed by a computer, which may be stored and transmitted in form of electrical signals and recorded on magnetic, optical or mechanical recording media. Now, what is big data? Big data is also a data but with huge size. Big data is what? A data with a huge size. Big data is a term used to describe a collection of data that is huge in volume and yet growing exponentially with time. In short, we can say such data is so large and complex that none of the traditional data management tools are able to store it and process it efficiently. None of the traditional management tools can store it and process it efficiently. So, examples of big data, types of big data, characteristics and advantage I will discuss in the next slides. Now, examples of big data. Following are the examples of big data. We can say New York Stock Exchange generates about 1 terabyte of new trade data per day. 1 terabyte of new trade data per day. New York Stock Exchange. Social media. This statistic shows that 500 plus terabytes of new data get ingested into the database of social media site via Facebook. Means 500 plus terabytes of data get ingested into a database by a social media site, Facebook, every day. This data is mainly generated in terms of photos, videos, message exchanges, and putting comments, etc. So this is the example of big data. Now a single jet engine can generate 10 plus terabytes of data in just 30 minutes of flight time. With many thousand flights per day, generation of data reaches up to petabytes. Means data is gradually increasing exponentially. Now the big data, types of big data. What are the types of big data? It can be categorized into three types: structured, unstructured, and semi-structured. There are three types of big data: structured, unstructured, and semi-structured. Now coming on to the next slide, what is structured? A structured data, any data that can be stored, accessed, and processed in the form of fixed format is known as structured data. A data having the fixed format is known as structured data. Over the period of time, talent in computer science has achieved great success in developing techniques for working with such kind of data, where the format is well known in advance and also deriving value out of it. However, nowadays we are foreseeing issues when a size of such huge data grows to a huge extent. Typical sizes are being in the range of multiple zettabytes. Do you know 10 to the power 21 bytes equal to 1 zettabyte, or 1 billion terabytes form a zettabyte. So this amount of data we are generating, and this is what, looking at these figures, one can easily understand why the name big data is given. Looking at these figures, we can easily say why we have given this big data name to this data. Data is given, and imagine the challenges involved in its storage and processing. Do you know data stored in a relational database management system is one of the example of structured data. Now what is relational database management system? A system which comprises of rows and columns, a tabular format I can say. I will show you in the next example. This is the example of structured data. Means this is a example of an organization. Let's say an employee table in a database is example of structured data. This is the employee ID, employee name, gender, department, and salary. This is a proper relational database management system. Therefore, we can say it is a structured data. Each entity is having its own value: employee ID, employee name, gender, department, and salary. Proper rows and columns. Now unstructured. Any data with unknown form or the structure is classified as unstructured data. Unknown form is classified as unstructured data. In addition to the size being huge, unstructured data poses multiple challenges in terms of its processing. When the size increases, multiple challenges also increases for deriving value out of it. A typical example of unstructured data is heterogeneous data source containing a combination of simple text files, images, videos, etc. Nowadays, organizations have wealth of data available with them, but unfortunately they don't know how to derive value out of it, since the data is in raw form or unstructured. Data is in raw form and unstructured, therefore organization does not know how to get value out of it. Example of unstructured data, this is a Google search. For example, anyone types Hadoop big data. This is a Google search, means we can say this is a form of example of unstructured data, because we are getting n number of entities. This maybe this entity is not useful for us, maybe this one is not useful, we have to use this one, this entity. So this is all unstructured data. Now semi-structured data. Semi-structured data can contain both the forms of data. We see semi-structured data as a structured in form, but it is actually not defined. With example, a table definition in relational DBMS. Example of semi-structured data is a data represented. It is a data represented in an XML file. XML file Extensible markup language file. This is the language used in most of the internet platforms. We can say e-commerce website, or this is the coding language of various websites. So this is the XML language. Personal data stored in XML file like name. These are the names stored in XML file. So this is the example of semi-structured data. Now conclusion. By this we can conclude the data. Structured data is a data that has a structure and is well organized either in the form of tables or in some other way, and can be easily operated, is known as structured data. Searching and accessing information from such type of data is very easy because it is structured. It is in a structured way. For example, data stored in the relational database is in the form of tables having multiple rows and columns, as I already told you with the help of an example how the data is represented in the form of rows and tables. The spreadsheet is another example of structured data. Spreadsheet means Excel sheet is another example of structured data. Now unstructured data, the data that is unstructured or unorganizing operating, such as type of data becomes difficult and requires advanced tools and softwares to access information. For example, images and graphics, PDF files, Word documents, audio, video, emails, PowerPoint presentations, web pages, and these all are the examples of unstructured data. Semi-structured data is basically a structured data that is unorganized. Web data such as JSON, JavaScript Object Notation files, BIB text files, .csv files, tab delimited text files, XML, as I told you with the example, XML files and other markup languages are the example of semi-structured data found on the web. Due to unorganized information, the semi-structured data is difficult to retrieve, analyze and store as compared to structured data, because the information that is available is unorganized. Therefore, the problem we face problem in retrieving that information and storing as compared to structured data. It requires software framework like Apache Hadoop to perform all this. There can be other frameworks as well. Now this is the proper, we can say, difference between structured, semi-structured and unstructured data. Now technology which structured data focuses on, as I told you, it is relational database RDBMS table. Semi-structured database, it is XML RDF file, XMLs. Unstructured data, it is based on character and binary data. Transaction management. In structured data, mature transaction and various concurrency techniques are there. Mature transaction and various concurrency techniques are there in structured data. In semi-structured data, transaction is adapted from DBMS, but it is not mature. It is not matured. Unstructured data, no transaction management and no concurrency. Version management, versioning over tuples, row, versioning over tuples or graphs is possible. It is as a whole. Flexibility, as it is schema dependent, it is structured, that means it has certain rules and regulations to form a database. Therefore, we can say it is schema dependent and less flexible. Semi-structured data, it is more flexible in comparison to structured data, but less than unstructured data. Unstructured data is very flexible because there is an absence of schema. There is no schema, therefore we can say it is flexible. Scalability, it is very difficult to scale database schema in structured data. It is in scaling is simpler and than structured data, and it is very scalable, robust. Structured data is robust, new technology. Semi-structured is a new technology, not very spread, we can say. Query performance, structured query performance allow complex joining. In structured data, in semi-structured data, queries over anonymous nodes are possible. In semi-structured data, anonymous nodes queries are possible. In unstructured data, only textual queries are possible. Queries related to text only. Now, moving on to characteristics of big data. Characteristics of big data. Thus, to term a data as big data, it should simultaneously follow the definition of all 5 V's. We can say 5 V's. First V is volume. Volume is the amount of data which is beyond our immediate grasp. Volume is the amount of data which is beyond our immediate grasp. The amount of data that cannot be stored on a single system and cannot be processed by traditional relational database system. This is volume. Currently, it's in the range of exabytes to the power 18. Velocity. Velocity is the speed at which data is getting processed. First, it is the speed. If the speed is high, it will lead to low response time. Means if the speed is high, response time will be low, and low time for input and output. And in a similar fashion, we will get our input and output. Second, timely response is a challenging task, but it requires considerable amount of resources to collect, store and process the data. Big data within a reasonable amount of time. This is velocity. First is volume, second is velocity. Now 2 V's are covered. We will move on to the third V of big data, that is variety. Variety. What is variety? Variety is the different types of data that is generated like unstructured, semi-structured and structured data. Traditionally, we are used to access and manipulate structured data through relational database system. Earlier, which type of database system we are using? Traditionally, we are using relational database system. With the advent of new technology, we have a huge amount of data generated, which is unstructured or semi-structured in format. So we need to have the technology in place so that we can handle this mix of data as required, because data is increasing, variety of data is increasing. So we need to have the technology in place in order to handle the mixture of data. This is what variety is all about. Now veracity. This is the fourth V of big data. Veracity deals with the uncertainties in data. Uncertainty means we are not sure about how accurate is the data which is being used for decision making. We are not sure about the data, how accurate it is. Good data should have low veracity or low uncertainty. Definitely, if a data is good, definitely it will have low veracity or low uncertainty because the data is good. Dealing with uncertainty means distinguishing between true or false or reliable or unreliable data. This is very difficult even for the best data cleaning methods to eliminate some inherent unpredictability of data, because we have to use some best data cleaning methods in order to remove that unpredictability of the data. So veracity is what? It deals with all kind of uncertainties in the data. Now moving on to the fifth V, that is the last V, value. Value deals with the value generated with the application of knowledge derived in particular use case. Value means the knowledge generated, application of knowledge, value generated with the application of knowledge. Thus, the value generated is directly proportional to the quality of the knowledge derived from the data. Value is what? It is directly proportional. Value is what? It is directly proportional to the quality of knowledge of data. When all the above mentioned characteristics exist together, we say that we have the problem of big data, and we have to develop the ways for how the data should be stored. If we have the problem of big data, then we should develop the ways of how to store our data, how the data can be extracted. Once the data is stored, it is stored for a specific purpose only. We have to access the data from the database. So how to data is extracted, how the data can be analyzed, and the how after analyzing data, how the actual visualization takes place. And then the decision making lies in the derived knowledge and how it can be utilized for a particular use case. This is what value is all about. Value is all about the value generated with the application of knowledge, and when all the above mentioned characteristics exist together, we say that we have to follow this thing. Means we have to store our big data, how to analyze, how to extract data, how to analyze data, how to visualize data. And finally, the decision making lies in the derived knowledge. Now, benefits of big data processing. What are the benefits of big data processing? Definitely, ability to process big data brings in multiple benefits, such as it brings in businesses can utilize outside intelligence while taking decisions. Business can use we can say outside intelligence in order to take certain decisions that will be useful for any organizational purpose. Access to social data from search engines and sites like Facebook, Twitter, Instagram are enabling organizations to fine tune their business strategies. Improved, hence we can say it improves customer service, right? If we are able to access social data from search engines like this, definitely the customer services will be improved. Now, third point is traditional customer feedback system are getting replaced by new system designed with big data technologies. In this new system, big data and natural language processing technologies are being used to read and evaluate customer responses. Early identification of risk for the product or services, if any, and it also results in better operational efficiency, because we are moving on to new systems designed for big data perspectives, because as data is increasing, traditional data storage technique and extraction is we cannot use that. Therefore, we have to move on to some other techniques. And what it will result in? It will result in early identification of risk to the products and services, if suppose is there any. Better operational efficiency. Big data technologies can be used for creating a stay area. We can say a area or a landing zone for new data before identifying what data should be moved to the data warehouse. In addition, such integration means combining data. Such integration of big data technologies and data warehouse helps an organization to offload infrequently accessed data, the data which we are not using frequently. So, we can offload that on the basis of new technologies which we are using for the big data perspective. Now, summary. I can conclude this. If big data is defined as a data that is huge in size, as I told you, big data is a term used to describe a collection of data that is huge in size, and yet it is growing exponentially with time. Examples of big data generation includes, as I told you with the help of an example, this is the final summary. Big data could be structured, unstructured and semi-structured. These are the 5 V's, or we can say characteristics of big data. Improved customer service, better operational efficiency, better decision making are few advantages of big data. Now, moving on to characteristics of good quality data. Characteristics of good quality data includes, first one is accuracy, how accurate and precise our data is. How accurate and precise our data is. Legitimate means our data is valid, it is legitimate for a certain society, certain set of people, how it is. Reliability and consistency, how the data is reliable or not, or it is consistent throughout the communication. So, these are the characteristics which I am talking about. Time length and relevance. What is the time limit of that particular data, relevance of that data. Data is complete or comprehensive, available all the time whenever we want that, means accessibility we can also say, granularity and uniqueness. These are all the characteristics of big data. I will discuss all of this. Now, accuracy. As I told you, one of the most important thing to remember is that not all data could be considered of fine quality. All data cannot be considered of fine quality, hence making them limited in their usefulness. In order to fully realize the benefits of data, it has to be a quality, high quality data. This means that one should look out for certain characteristics in the data. As I told you, there are certain characteristics of data. First characteristics is accuracy and precision. Data should be precise, which means it should contain accurate information. Precision, what does precision do? It saves time. It saves times of the user as well as their money. Legitimate and valid. Data should be relevant and according to the requirements of the user. Hence, the legitimacy of the data should be checked, means whether the data is legal or not, or I can say legal. Legitimate is another synonym of legal. Should be checked before considering it for usage. Reliability and consistent. Data should be consistent and reliable. False data, remember this point, false data is worse than incomplete data or no data at all, because if the data is false, then it will result in further problems. So false data is worse, we can say. If the data is incomplete or no data, we can somewhat find that data, we can complete that data. But if suppose we are having data that should be consistent and reliable. Timeliness and relevance. There must be a valid reason to collect the data to justify the effort required, which also means it has to be collected at the right moment in time. If suppose any organization wants data, if any organization wants data by the end of today's night, and we are collecting data means day afterwards, and so on, then that usage of data is actually gone. So there must be a valid reason, there should be a reason to collect the data, and it should be within time, at the right moment in time. Data collected too soon or too late should misinterpret a situation and it will derive inaccurate decisions. This is timeliness and relevance. Completeness and comprehensiveness. Incomplete data is as dangerous as inaccurate data. Gaps in data collection lead to partial view of the overall picture to be displayed. Without a complete picture of how operations are running, uninformed actions will occur. It's important to understand the complete set of requirements that constitute a comprehensive set of data to determine whether or not the requirements are being fulfilled. So data should be complete and it should be comprehensive. Availability and accessibility. A high quality data is unique to the requirements of the data user. Moreover, it is easily accessible and can be processed further with ease. Now the last one is granularity and uniqueness. The level of data at which data is collected is important, because why it is important? Because confusion and inaccurate decisions can otherwise occur. If it is not each detail is collected, then inaccurate and confusion can occur. Aggregated, some and manipulated collections of data could offer a different meaning than the data implied at a lower level. An appropriate level of granularity must be defined to provide sufficient uniqueness and properties to become visible, I can say. Thus, this is a requirement for operations to function effectively. There are many elements that determines data qualities, and each can be prioritized differently. And it can be vary from one organization to another organization. Means prioritization could change depending on the stage of growth of any organization or any business cycle. The key is to remember, you must define what is most important in an organization when you are evaluating data. Then use the characteristics to define the criteria for high quality, high quality or accurate data, I can say. Once defined, you can be assured for a better understanding and a better position to achieve your goals. This is what the characteristics of data. Now, what is data analytics? Introduction to big data. Data is always a buzzword for ages now. Either the data being generated from large scale enterprise or the data generated from an individual. Either the data is generated from an individual or a large scale organization. Each and every aspect of data need to be analyzed to benefit yourself from it. But how do we do it? Well, that's where the team of data analytics comes into picture. These are three things. Why is data analytics important? What is data analytics? And top data analytics tool. Now, data analytics introduction. The three types of the analytic guys needs the data analysis. It usually basically three types of analytic named. First one is descriptive analytics. It focuses on we know what we know and gain insight into how and why it has happened. Descriptive analytics. I will discuss all this with the help of an example. But before that, what descriptive analytics is, it focused on we know what we know and gain insight into how and why it has happened. In predictive analytics, we analyze what will happen and how and why will happen using predictive analytics. Okay. In prescriptive analytics, what optimal and best action and decision value for the identified problem. It uses many techniques of data mining. Now, what is data analytics? As I told you, data analytics refers to the techniques to analyze data, to enhance productivity and business gain. Data is extracted from various sources, categorized to analyze different behavioral patterns. The techniques and the tools can vary accordingly. It can vary from one organization to another organization. So, in short, if you understand your business administration and have the capability to perform exploratory data analysis to gather the required information, then you are good to go with the career in data analytics. So, now that we all understand, means you all know what data analytics is, I will quickly cover the top tools used in data analytics. First tool is, before coming to tools of data analytics, the important thing about, we should know about data analysis, data analytics, the picture of whole. We should be clear about data analytics. Now, this is the pictorial representation. See, data analytics, I told you about descriptive, diagnostic, predictive and prescriptive thing. Now, data analytics, processing of data by theories, technologies, tool and processes, okay, that enable in-depth understanding and discovery of actionable insight into the data, means value inside the data. Data analysis, this is the difference between data analysis and data analytics. Data analysis is what? Processing of data by traditional, or we can say classical, statistical, mathematical or logical theories, and tool for obtaining useful information. Data science, it is the umbrella of all. Data sciences, it includes stats, informatics, computing, communication, sociology, environment, management, and it is all about data and thinking. Data science is all about this. Descriptive, diagnostic, predictive and prescriptive. I will tell you with all this with the help of an example. Now, this is pictorial difference between data science, data analysis and data analytics. Now, this is what? Data analytics, it includes prescriptive, predictive, diagnostic and descriptive. Diagnostic is what? Why it is happening. Predictive is what will happen, and prescriptive is what should we do. Prescribe what should we do. Use many techniques, example data mining, statistical modeling, etc. And descriptive, what has happened. It usually use the statistics to gain insight about the historical data. Data analysis and data science. This is a pictorial representation as a whole of data science, data analysis and data analytics. Now data analysis, as I told you in the last slide, this is a data analysis. Now data analysis, it refers to the processing of data by traditional, example classical, statistical, mathematical or logical theories, and tools for obtaining useful information and for practical purposes. For example, if we have any information about the customer and we want to analyze that information, let's say what we can do, what happened, why it has happened. For data analysis, there is a need of knowledge of data warehouse, I can say database, data warehouse and programming. Data analytics, it refers to the theories, technologies, tools and processes that enable an in-depth understanding and discovery of actionable insight into the data. In simple words, data analytics is applying mathematics, or I can say stats, in an algorithm way. It is used to predict future, what will happen so far, what will happen so far. The insight from data are used to recommend action or to guide decision making rooted in business context. It use data analytics. What data analytics use? Machine learning, neural network and predictive modeling. Now descriptive. Descriptive, it refers to the type of data analytics that typically use stats to describe the data used to gain information or for other useful purposes. What has happened means it gives you insight about what has happened in the past, creates summary of historical data. It shows the summary through how it can be showed. It can be showed with the help of dashboard, charts, diagrams, etc. It gives useful information and prepare data for further analysis. Example of descriptive is monthly profit and loss statement. Now diagnostic, why it is happening, the root cause of a problem. One assessment of the descriptive data, diagnostic analytic tool will empower an analyst to drill down, and in doing so it isolate the root cause of the problem. Well designed business information, BI dashboards incorporating reader of time series data, that is data coming from successive point in time, multiple successive points in time, and featuring filters and drill down capabilities allow for such analytics. This is what diagnostic is all about. Predictive, it refers to the type of data analytics that makes prediction about unknown future events and discloses the reason behind them, typically by advance. In simple words, what could happen means prediction about unknown future events. This is an example of predictive analytics. An airline think to make new route, then it may attempt to predict future travel demand on that route. If suppose a new route will be planned, then definitely an attempt will be there to predict future travel demand on that particular route. The older a person, the more susceptible they are to a heart attack. Then we should say that age has a linear correlation with heart attack risk. This is what means a prediction, we can say. A shopkeeper want to predict new trendy shoe, so it can predict with the help of past records. Now this is what it can be. Predictive modeling, what will happen next if condition, root cause, why this has actually happened. Data mining, this is all can be divided. Predictive analytics can further be divided into forecasting, what if the existing trends continue, what Monte Carlo simulation, what could happen, pattern identification and alerting, when should an action be invoked to correct a particular process. This is what pattern identification and alerting. Now prescriptive analytics, it refers to the type of data analytics that optimizes indications and recommend actions for smart decision making. What should we do? It uses many techniques from like data mining, statistical modeling, etc. A good example of this is traffic application that help you to choose the best route best route home, or taking into account the distance of each route, the speed at which one can travel on each road, crucially the current traffic constraint. These are examples of prescriptive analytics, I can say. Proactive analytics, the last generation of analytics is proactive generation, in which the machines don't need a human to act. They will simply act proactively and do the work. In this generation of analytics, there is no requirement of human to act. They can act accordingly. There are two ways to act: to react to the simulation or to act proactively, creating or controlling a situation by causing something to happen rather than responding to it after it has happened. See, I will discuss all this with the help of an example in the next class. Means descriptive, predictive, proactive, all the generations of analytics I will discuss with the help of an example in next session. Thank you.